The third hadith, and this is narrated by Tamarani in Al-Mu'jam Al-Kabir. Salama bin Nufail said, and I want you to pay very close attention to this hadith, it's very important. But before I narrate the hadith, let me ask you this question. Is jihad a ibadah that is intended in itself, or is jihad a ibadah that is a means to something else? Is jihad an ibadah that is intended in itself, or is it a means to an end? Is jihad a means towards the end of the people becoming Muslim, or is it a means towards the end of Khilafah? Or is jihad intended in its own self? It's an ibadah in its own self, and what's the evidence for that? Because it can easily be argued that jihad is a means to Khilafah or a means to Da'wah, which means that if it's a means to something else, if people become Muslim, there's no point in jihad. So if we say that it's not a means in itself, then if we can invite people to Islam without jihad and they would embrace it, there's no need for jihad then. So what's the evidence of the fact that it's ibadah in itself? Let's read this hadith and see. Because that's a very important argument. One can say, well, why not just make da'wah? Why do we have to fight the people? If we can distribute brochures and we can have our stalls and booths, why do you have to fight people? What's the point? Salama bin Nufail said, while I was sitting with Rasulullah, a man came to him and said, O Messenger of Allah, horses are being discarded and weapons are being laid down, and some people are claiming that there's no more fighting. This apparently happened after Fath Makkah. Victory was complete, horses are discarded, we lay down our weapons, let's go back to our business, take care of our farms, there's no more fighting, that's it. جاء نصر الله والفتح. What did Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam say? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, كذبوا الآن جاء القتال. They are lying. Now fighting has just begun. And a party of my ummah will fight for the sake of Allah, and those who oppose them will not harm them. And Allah will deviate the hearts of some men to provide for that party from them by fighting them. And they will continue fighting until the final hour starts. And good will remain on the foreheads of horses until the day of judgment, and war will not end until Ya'juj and Ma'juj come out. There's a similar hadith narrated by Imam Nasa'i, and then we'll read the commentary on it. Salman bin Nufail said, while I was sitting with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, a man came to him and said, O Messenger of Allah, horses are being humiliated and weapons are being laid down, and people are claiming there's no more jihad and war has ended. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, they are lying. Fighting has just begun. Fighting has just begun. And a party of my ummah will remain fighting on the true path, and Allah will deviate the hearts of some men, and Allah will provide the fighters from them until the final hour starts and the promise of Allah is fulfilled. Good is in the foreheads of horses until the day of judgment. It is being revealed to me that I will be departing you soon, and you will follow me while you are fighting each other, and the house of the believers is in Asham. Now what does As-Sindi say in his commentary on Sunan Nasa'i? He says, humiliating horses means ignoring them and belittling their importance or not using them for combat. And he comments on the statement, now fighting has started, now fighting has started. He said, the repetition is to reveal the importance of the message, and it means that fighting is only increasing, and that Allah has just prescribed it, so how can it end so soon? Or it means that the real fighting has just begun, because so far they have been fighting only within their territory, the land of the Arabs, but now is time for them to carry the battle to further lands. It is actually Abu Bakr and Umar who carried out the jihad outside of the Arabian Peninsula, and that was the golden era of jihad fi sabilillah. And the Muslims in that time were fighting more than in the time of Rasulullah ﷺ. They have open fronts all over them. By the way, these comments by Sindi, I inserted them, they're not in the book. But they're important for this hadith. And then he says, and this is the important statement here, Allah will deviate the hearts of some. What does that mean? It means Allah will always provide this party of believers, the Ta'ifah, with men to fight, even if it means deviating their hearts from Iman to Kufr. So Rasulullah ﷺ saying, let's assume that everybody becomes Muslim. Allah will take some people and deviate their hearts so that the ibadah of jihad will not stop. Therefore, it is intended in its own self. It is the ibadah in its own self. It's not a means to something else. That is to bless these believers by providing them with the honor of fighting in His sake and the ultimate pleasure of pleasing Allah. In other words, Allah Azza wa Jalla will never deprive the ummah of the opportunity of fighting jihad. The opportunity will always be there. It's just a matter of who will accept the invitation and who will turn it down. So this is a critical hadith in this argument, because it says that Allah Azza wa Jalla wants this ibadah to follow, and Allah wants to honor this ta'ifah, and Allah wants to give them the ajr. Therefore Allah will always create for them their targets. The target will always be there so that this ta'ifah can carry on with the ibadah of jihad fi sabilillah. Now when it says that Allah will deviate the hearts of some so that Allah will give them rizq through them, it could either mean so that Allah will give them the rizq of shahada, Allah will give them the rizq of ajr, or Allah will give them the rizq of ghanima. It could mean all of the above. And you know, one has the right to ask, we hear all of the ahadith about small details in the life of Rasulullah ﷺ, about small issues. We hear them all over in the masajid, and ahadith like this are hidden from the public, hidden from the people, when they are very critical and important ahadith. How come these ahadith are not presented and told to the people? And there's an attempt by shaitan to block out some aspects of the religion.